Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 120 with Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. And today we are talking about small business success with Tyler Tice. So Joanne and I meet a lot of people in our comings and goings. We chat a lot too. In our chattiness, we meet amazing people. And that's how we came across our guest today, Tyler Tice of Atlanta Bed Swings. Atlanta Bed Swings has been creating unique wood and metal bed swings partnered with Sunbrella fabric since 2015, but it's a business that has been built over the last 20 years with a lot of grit and fortitude. The company was founded by Mike Tice, Tyler's dad, a builder and remodeler who can build or fix just about anything. Over the years, a recession, a full house fire on Christmas Day has created huge obstacles for Mike and his very resilient family. Their story is a beautiful one, and we want to share it with you today through the eyes of Mike's son, Tyler.
So excited for this. So before we chat with Tyler, we want to let you know that this episode of Inside Design is sponsored by the Outdoor Great Room Company. They are the experts in outdoor fire and making your backyard an experience. As the first company to enter the gas fire pit category, the Outdoor Great Room Company manufactures unique and luxury gas fire pit tables, gas fire burners, outdoor kitchen islands, outdoor gas fireplaces, patio furniture, and other custom products to fit your lifestyle. With a wide variety of sizes, shapes, colors, and price points, the Outdoor Great Room Company has the perfect fire pit to fit your backyard space. If you're looking for a holiday gift, check out many styles that are currently in stock and ready to ship. You got to check out their website. They've got some great stuff.
Yeah.
So exclusively for Inside Design listeners, the Outdoor Great Room Company is offering 10% off your purchase with code ID10 and free shipping on any purchase over $200. Financing is also available, so visit outdoorrooms.com/inside design to view all their in-stock products. Use hashtag #BringHomeOutside to share your outdoor space on social media.
Excellent.
Yay!
So welcome, Tyler. Thanks for coming. He's actually in our studio today, so we're very excited.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This place is really cool.
Awesome. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us about your family and how Atlanta Bed Swings came to be.
Yeah, so that's a loaded question.
I know. Try and give us the
Condensed
well, there's
version.
a lot of good. Anyway, shoot.
Sure. So I am one of five. There's a total of 7 in our family. Mom and dad are Mike and Aaron. So Mike, or dad, has pretty much always been, a contract worker doing his own thing, entrepreneur, business owner, all that good stuff. And for about 20 years, he did remodeling, contracting services, good old GM stuff. And as he was doing that, he's working on roofing, windows, all kinds of stuff. And then you had the Great Recession. And we were living in Dothan, Alabama at the time. I've been in the Wiregrass we lived there for about 7 years. And no one wanted to replace windows or have roofs done when they could barely even afford their mortgages. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we were trying to pivot in the best way possible. And as we looked at different ventures, Dad really looked into tables and benches and things like that. So we started making pallet furniture, which really was quite an interesting experience. And we moved forward from there. And after about a year or two of doing that, we had a house fire on Christmas Day. And that was a lot to take in, of course. At the time, there was 4 of us. Little Analia was almost 2 years old. And so we quickly moved out of that situation, of course.
Did your house burn down?
So it was a brick house. It was built in the 1950s. Uh-huh. So the actual structure didn't burn. But with the water damage and everything going on,
Yep.
I would say about 90% of the house was lost. Anything from
goodness.
photos to memorabilia, all that stuff. Now, one silver lining would be that the fire department rushed in, grabbed all of the Christmas presents under the tree, and they threw them out the door right before they finished the house.
Oh, because I was just about to say all the and Annalise probably watching her life just end.
So that was definitely pretty neat to have all of those, of course. But the sentiment of a lot of other items were lost. And that's been several years. So we've definitely built back up, the memories and that kind of thing. It definitely was a big pivot for our entire family. With that, we really all jumped into the business at that point. Before we were just kind of, schoolwork and, have fun, that kind of thing. And so we changed like our life goals and the enjoyment that we had being at home. Dad would go out and work on job sites and then come home. So we barely saw him. So working from home and doing things at home really brought that togetherness that we didn't have quite as much before. So that was really interesting. And as we move forward, we eventually moved to Florida. And so as we made that move, we really started venturing into outdoor furniture and more of what you guys have seen. And then about 2014, maybe 2015, we started getting requests for a bed swing. And, Dad was like, well, what's that? Like, what's a bed swing?
Yeah.
And we were near 30A, near the beach. Yeah. And so that's where a lot of designers would have those requests or clients that are building a home. And so we looked into what they were, and Dad was like, this is not a good product. Like, it will fall through the ceiling. It'll break over time. This is just not a very reliable thing to do. So being the fixer that he is, he decided to look into ways to make it better. He brought it to the Scott Antique Market several years ago and started really showcasing the bed swings because he found a way to make it better. I would note that there were a few people there making bed swings. They weren't too happy that we had brought an innovative product. They even challenged us, saying that we couldn't do it. And that definitely added even more grit and fortitude, as you guys have said, into getting it done. So ever since then, the quality and the experience has been a big focus for us. We not only want to have high quality products, but also create an excellent experience, one bed swing at a time. And so with that, that's kind of where we are at today. We are growing more than ever, and our family is like fully involved, except for the two littlest ones who'd like to have some more fun, obviously. We are fully involved with the bed swing business and seeing where to go from there.
All right, so we have to tell you how Tyler came to be. So Kelly and I have been to Scott Antique Market so many times and have seen Atlanta bed swings. And
do you know what I realized?
What?
I just to interrupt you for a quick second. I was cleaning out my desk upstairs, and I literally have
like 5 of the postcards,
5 of their business cards. Because every time I would go to Scott's, I'd be like, "Oh yes," and I'd be like, "Hey, can I have your card?"
Yep.
And so because people would ask me, and so I have this collection. So it's taken a long time for us to get to this point. I don't know why.
This goes to show you, like, hang in there, keep going, because we watched them for like 5 years, and then all of a sudden we had a client who's one of our favorite clients, who went to an Airbnb where they had a couple of bed swings, and she said, we spent almost all of our family time on those bed swings. I want those in my new house. And we were like, we know just the person.
Yes.
So we called Atlanta Bed Swings because you had to call to get an appointment for their virtual showroom. So we really didn't know what that meant. So Kelly and we brought our client. We had to have a code to go in. So we were in there by ourselves. And there was this, Tyler, what do you call him? A little robot guy?
We call it a portal kiosk.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, Aaron pops up on the screen and greets us and tells us that we're going to, she's going to walk us through and tell us everything. And if we had any questions. So there was a little parking spot. And then we had to move to the next spot, which had a vignette showing a bed swing and the different, whether you put it on a rope.
She was on like an iPad or kind of a big iPad. Yeah. And it was attached to a movable kiosk, I guess, a little guy. Just a stand on wheels. And she'd say, okay, take me to the next room and park me on the red circle. And we'd be like, okay.
And we're like, this is like so cool.
Yeah.
So then she took us into the room where all the fabrics were. And in the meantime, we were like, this it's such a cool idea. Well, our son Tyler, he kind of, worked on this and he created our website. We're like, wow, okay.
Pre-COVID.
Yes.
Which let's make a big note about that, because that is, you guys, of course, it's terrible that we had COVID, but you guys must have been giving yourselves a kind of a pat on the back going,
absolutely.
We are so
we were way ahead of the curve.
Like, we just survived a pandemic because we have a virtual showroom.
But basically, so she was there with us. We walked into the room where all the fabrics were, and they were displayed in needle point.
Fabric looms, yes.
Fabric
looms.
round,
And we're like
circular.
going, this is a really cool way to display the fabrics. Like, Tyler, that was Tyler's idea. We're like, wait a minute.
Who's this Tyler?
No, the final straw was when we were looking at the fabrics and there wasn't a window in there. And
we were looking at the Sherwin-Williams paint deck.
Yes, and we were trying to figure out because you can pick any color for your wood swing, and so we're like, I don't know, I can't really tell what the color. We need some natural light, and I'm like, oh, there's a little light there. You just press the button, and that will
show natural light.
It'll be natural light. We're like, wait a minute, how did you? That was Tyler. We're like, okay, we're having Tyler on the podcast. We want to meet Tyler. We want to know all about Tyler. So. I'll let you go ahead and talk about how you came up with this augmented reality or whatever this thing was.
Yeah.
And go from there.
Absolutely. So it's quite, it's one of those things where as a business owner that doesn't live where most of our products sell, we were trying to figure out how to have a brick and mortar store without actually being there. And at the time, I was probably like 15 or 16. We were trying to figure this out. And we had even gone to lengths of, well, maybe Tyler moves there, goes to Kennesaw State down the road and lives
because at this time you were still in Florida.
Yes. So we only recently moved to Marietta, Georgia, and I still actually live in Florida. So I
don't think I knew that.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that either.
We only recently, in fact, we had the showroom for a little over a year before we ever lived here. We were here about once a month for the show, of course, Scott Antique Markets, obviously, and then we'd go up here for deliveries and installs. So, Mike was going back and forth all the time. Our installers were making trips. But as far as cost goes, cost of living is a lot lower in Florida than it is in Georgia. So it was waiting for that perfect time to make the move. And of course, that ended up happening with COVID and supply delays and that kind of thing, which is a different development. But regardless, we were trying to figure out how to be here without being here. And again, this is a pre-COVID world, so that idea just sounded insane. So we were trying to figure out basically how to maybe set an appointment, have people go in there by themselves. But this is such a unique process, and it takes a lot of educating while you're going through the process. Unless of course, you're very experienced designers such as yourselves. You pretty much have to have a step-by-step process to get it done. So we were looking at the idea of, Zoom and those kind of online streaming options. And we just didn't like it. It just wasn't going to work. So we ended up figuring out, what if there's a way to mount an iPad on a movable stand? And that just didn't work with the hardware. Obviously, like Apple and Windows and that kind of software is difficult to manage in that situation. So then this item called a Facebook portal came out. And we were like, this is what we need to finally get it done. We had this idea for like 2 years. This device finally came out, a part we couldn't do. And we went from there. So Mike worked on the intricacies of making that portal, and I pretty much went from there. I worked with a couple of different IT people I knew, and we really focused on how to add items such as unlocking the door and the lights turn on, and a screen starts playing pictures of bed swings, and all of those little intricate details that you need to make the experience perfect. So that's what I really went into, and I would say that even though that took a lot and a lot of hardware that you're not used to in a showroom, cost-wise, it brought it like in half, because we didn't have the overhead of someone sitting there all day ready for anyone to walk in. So I think we really took advantage of that situation. And then you guys, of course, have experts when you're on the phone or on the screen with them. You're not having to worry about the person not knowing quite as many details or having to call the owner later. So we know pretty much anything you could possibly ask, and we can know a yes or no answer in that moment. And then in that case, we can also open in, Nashville bed swings, or, Texas and California, wherever we need to go, and we can start it up a lot easier.
I love how you talk about we, because I think that's so interesting. You were how old when this was going on?
We first started Atlanta Bed Swings when I was about 14 or 15, and showrooms at 16.
So they really, made you guys a part of the family business. Like you had some input at that age.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
That's a really big deal.
And what I was very impressed with at this virtual showroom was you could tell the thought, like you're saying, that went into the experience. It's funny, my daughter's an experiential graphic designer in Chicago. And so you really appreciate, everybody wants an experience these days when they're buying, right? So when you walk in, you not only had the different kinds of bed swings all set up and looking really pretty with cool fabrics, and you have showing the different ways they can hang, rope, iron, different ways that your bed swings can be carved.
Right.
But you also had a little area to play for kids if they were, mom and dad needed to concentrate.
And some really good snacks,
and
too.
Snacks
Yes.
and water, a nice bathroom. The Sunbrella and the performance fabric room was very easy. There was a Sherwin-Williams
Paint deck
right there. Everything that we needed as designers to get this done. I mean, by the time we left there, we had decided on the design of the bed swing, the color of the bed swing, the color of the fabrics, but also the pillow layout. They have pictures all over the wall of all the different configurations
Right.
of pillows that you can use. So if you're a layman and you're like, I don't know, all these ideas on the wall. So we just pointed and,
Yep.
it was so easy.
And that for that particular client, she was like, well, I'd like a place to put drinks or whatever. And so they were like, well, Mike, he's always up for a challenge. He created a little pop-up thing, for you
Yes, a special cup holder. Yeah.
Yeah. And she did 2 double size. So they are the size of a full size mattress. And she did 2 of them because they're literally going to cuddle up and, she's got 2 dogs and those labs will be up there with her reading with her glass of wine. I mean, it was, I thought it was so innovative, and to be there post COVID and to see that you guys did this pre-COVID just showed. We talk a lot on the show about businesses pivoting during COVID. You guys pivoted, right after the fire and all that. And I always just think that's super fascinating. And I think there's a lot of lessons there to be learned for people who are trying to, make it in this world.
Well, go ahead and tell us about Sunbrella and how that relationship happened.
Yes. So I would add that it is definitely a breakthrough market where, we're coming in as a very small business that hasn't even done bed swings really. And we're trying to get that connection and actually wholesale through Sunbrella. And so I would say it probably took about 3 months to actually get a real connection back. And I understand, of course, now that I can look back, that's a lot to try to answer every call or every need. So when we finally made that connection, they set up, of course, our representative. And Christy Lewis is amazing. I love her. And we finally met in Atlanta in Sandy Springs. I went to this really nice sushi restaurant. I'd never been there. I don't believe any of us had been, and it was quite an experience. It was very authentic. And when we got there, Mike and I were both sat, and then Christy arrived, and she could not figure out who I was. And that's because at the time I was, I believe, 14. And she was like, who's this kid? And she finally clicked at the end of the night that I was the one emailing and talking to her on the phone and getting all that stuff done. And I believe the word that she used was flabbergasted. And that's definitely something I've gotten used to. I get kind of numb from that. I definitely enjoy being able to make that connection and that surprise, of course. But now I'm 20, so it doesn't happen quite as much. And that's totally fine. But regardless, I really enjoy being able to see people notice the entrepreneurial mind and the creative mindset that our whole family has, and that I've been able to work on, and that Mike's been able to partner with me on. And Aaron has been a huge help with that, being able to guide me while I'm not really sure what to do. I just know I want to do something. We're all super motivated, and being able to have that guiding light is a very important detail for sure.
So tell us about, so you're in college now.
Yes.
So tell us about that, what you're studying and where you are.
Absolutely. I'll give that plug. I go to FSU, and I go to the Panama City campus, which is pretty awesome. So that great education on the beach is amazing. So just going to plug that right there. But regardless, I am going into the entrepreneurial degree. So it's commercial entrepreneurship with the Jim Moran Institute. And being able to talk about not just what I've already done, but what I can do going from there is astronomically helpful. Everything from here's how you should handle your taxes and your reports and all that kind of thing, all the way down to where is your heart coming from for what you're actually doing. I think for a while there was a couple years where I was just focused on the bed swings because it was our baby, it was our project. And it was hard to go back to why we're doing it. And a lot of it is, of course, before family, which, family comes first in our unit here, but also being able to talk with people such as yourselves or clients and being able to make that connection of inspiration with the individual is amazing. I wanted to go into hospitality or service or something where I can be with people and not just solve a problem, but see that glitter in their eye when I'm done talking to them. So that's why I love being an entrepreneur and kind of going into that venture. Now, it's of course not easy. They definitely make it difficult because they want you to challenge yourself to move forward. So I've taken that idea of the showroom and I'm actually working on it as a new venture itself that I'm calling augmented retail. And then without going into too much detail with that, we're basically trying to condense the size of showroom spaces and help others that may have situations such as we did, or maybe even more Latin issues where they just want to cut down on space, or entrepreneurs who want to have a location. They've got a website, it looks great, but they don't know how to get to that brick and mortar without costing an arm and a leg. So that's what I'm currently working on, and everybody there has been amazing. I'm at the Student Government Council as well. I am the president pro tempore, which basically means vice president. Vice president of everything for right now, so we'll see. But that's been really fun. I've been able to work with new initiatives and government entities and organizations to really put together a better campus experience. And I think that's just our focus. Everywhere that I'm at, bed swings, my program, my campus, I'm just focused on the experience that people can have, and that's really inspiring to me.
You're a very impressive young man.
Thank you.
I mean, at 20, when I sit here and think about that, I never even knew there were these entrepreneurship programs.
No.
Because I feel like,
That's
Kelly
amazing.
and I are a lot older than Tyler, but
not
so
that
many,
much older.
So many,
Thanks.
so many people that go into either creative businesses or become entrepreneurs have worked in the corporate world or have done something because they went to college because their parents wanted them to be an attorney, whatever. And then they end up, sometimes like in their 40s, like all of a sudden, right, where's your heart? Where's your passion? And that's great that you're doing this at your age now because you haven't wasted, the years. Although, you do learn so much even doing what you don't really want to be doing.
Well, we will reveal to you all that Atlanta Bed Swings is our source for bed swings. We've ordered many from Tyler and his family. I'm wondering, it hasn't affected us with you guys because you seem to be turning them around fairly quickly. How has all the supply chain issues and the disaster of our industry right now affected you guys? Because I know we've had some trouble with some Sunbrella fabrics. As much as we love them, we've had some availability issues with them.
Yes.
But you guys also work with Revolution
and Maria Flora.
and Maria Flora that we love. So that hasn't seemed to really held you up too much. Are you having any trouble with lumber or iron or anything else that's components of your...
Yeah, so we really focus on as much external confidence as possible because in this crazy market, we just want people to feel confident in what we're doing. But internally, it's insane, to say the least. So pretty much every single area up until recently, with the exception of paint, but now there's a problem there too.
Yes, there is.
Every single area, we have back orders, delays, complications of some sort, and there's only so much you can be prepared with when they're custom, bed swings. So we've definitely, over the last year and a half, been able to figure out how fabric delays work. And Erin has a good saying, because I'm, of course, in school. So Erin does most of the showroom appointments now, which has been a huge help. She is my rock right now. And being able to tell people, like, you see this fabric right here, if it says back order on it, it's not an option. Like, we're just at that point where we have to say no. Delay and back order are different. If it's delayed by a few weeks, we can work with that. But back orders, we just have to start saying no, and we've never had to do that. So
because
it's
you don't
hard
want
for us.
you don't want to disappoint the client.
Yeah.
Because if you're expecting something, and I can't tell you how many times we've had to say it's been delayed, it's been delayed,
Again.
it's been delayed.
Well, what saved us recently was you guys have built this relationship with Maria Flora out of Italy, and they are not having the degree,
Exactly.
we all are, but the degree of supply chain issues, and they had some really cool patterns that we were looking for in outdoor, which are tough to find. And so we I think we put that on the last couple jobs. We mixed it. We did a little Sunbrella or a little Revolution mix with Maria Flora, but those are the kind of business decisions that are smart these days.
No back orders.
Yes.
You're protecting your client and your business. So
it's the opportunity cost, because of course we focus on that. Opportunity cost is usually used in like a very business term.
I have PTSD from all my economics classes when you say that.
But we also have to think about it in opportunity cost for the client. And is it really worth it for them to see a fabric and think that they're going to get it and never do? There's been times where we've had things on back order and then all of a sudden we're told, oh, we're just going to completely drop this item in general and good luck to you. And there's so many in the world of high performance fabrics, there's so many fabrics that are like no other. You can find replacements. Maria Flora has been a huge help with that, where we can just say, well, let's just check Sunbrella fabrics that you really love, but let's also focus on them because we know that they have the same warranty, sometimes even better. They clean the same. It's as if you have Sunbrella on your bed already. It just is from a different source. And so that's been a big help for sure, being able to work with them. That's a very recent relationship we've developed. But with Sunbrella, they definitely have the years of experience of dealing with this kind of thing. So being able to talk about what they're focused on trying to keep in stock and really sell more of that or focus more on that is a big deal. They told us recently, like, hey, red and orange dye, super hard to find. Try to veer somewhere else. So if someone says they like red or orange, let's look at Maria Flora or Revolution.
Yeah.
So that's how we kind of navigate that world. Definitely with wood, there's always a back order. I think right now we're getting our wood from Mobile, Alabama, possibly.
Wow.
We go all over the place right now with that. Foam, inserts, anything polypropylene based is also on back order at this time, which can change over time. But that constant being way more prepared than the orders you may have is definitely nerve-wracking as a business. You can't really cancel those kind of things because they're also trying to do the same thing. So really our focus is, what can we do to streamline a customized product? And so as far as you were talking about pivots earlier, we've pivoted once again. And something that we're doing is creating our American bed swing line, which may be new information to you guys.
Yeah.
So essentially, we were trying to figure out what clients like the most, going through data and research and what people really like from the bed swings, even though every single one, I've never seen a repeat.
Really? That's interesting.
It's very interesting. Well, when you have like over 2,000 fabrics and all the colors, it's very easy to make it unique. And so with that, we were focused on the aspects people like. So we brought it down to, I think, like 6 or 7 different cushion set colors, 2 different configurations, and then I believe 6 different frames that you could choose from, and then 5 or 6 colors, like the good old urbane bronze, pure white, all of those popular colors, and just make those your options. And it does not really change the quality of the product. We can only do rope on those beds, so that's the only difference. But just streamlining as much as possible so that people can choose a product and have a better ETA than just we think it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it is.
So your own little quick ship program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trying our best to do that, and eventually we will be able to ship them nationwide. We're trying to do it more of a local market for now, but that's our next pivot for this ever-changing market.
I would imagine when you do that, your biggest challenge, I'm just guessing, would be finding qualified installers in those other areas. And maybe they have to be Atlanta Bed Swing certified or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's something that we actually had an idea of even before the showroom was around, was how do we get a network of verified installers? We did one in Albuquerque one time where we shipped it all the way there. We talked to someone over the phone and went over how things work, and the install went okay, but it wasn't quite to the point where we thought we could do that on a repetitive basis. So I think what we'll start with is wherever we have a showroom, we will have an expanded area for access of installs, and then hopefully those individuals can train other installers and branch out from there.
Yeah.
So we're really focused on Nashville and Texas right now, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, installs are a big deal. That's why people come to us, because doing that last part of the service of installation is just so hard to find. So being able to come to someone who's done it, 1,000 times over and get it done, get it right the first time, is definitely a breath of fresh air for a lot of clients.
Well, I recently just had a bed swing installed yesterday.
Yes.
And my husband, who's really pretty handy and, knows construction, whatever, he was extremely impressed.
That's awesome.
With the way they installed it. And he said, 5 people could fit on. I mean, it's heavy duty, sturdy, and it's absolutely beautiful.
When you
Yeah.
got the full size, right?
You got the full
Yes.
size.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Does it move much when you get on it?
Not really.
That's nice.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't want to be like swinging like crazy. I just
Yeah.
want to get up on there and read a book.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, for sure. So one last question. When we were at Scott's, talking to your dad and making an order, we met your brother Jacob,
Yes.
and he was 17? 16,
I
17?
hope that's right. I think that's right.
He's still in high school.
Yes.
And
I think he's 16.
we were very impressed with him as well. So do you have any rebels in the family, or everybody's sticking with it and gonna keep this boat floating?
Well, the answer I have sounds like a little more gushy than you maybe expected. So, Mom and Dad have always told us that, especially Dad, what they really want to do is have something where if we don't want to work for someone else, that we can have the business and use it to our advantage, and basically not have to branch out and try to deal with the crazy world of, what it takes to actually succeed, and stay in the business if we want. They've definitely been very open-minded to whatever we need to do. So we're definitely all still very involved, but basically giving that option where if we want to branch out, we're more than welcome to. Michael may stay in the business. Who knows what will happen? I think Jacob, if he stays in the business, he'll do great, but he also really loves cars. So he may become a mechanic or do something.
I think we
with
talked about that
restoration.
because he said he wasn't like too up for traditional college.
Yes.
When we were chatting with him, and he said that he did really love cars. So
Yeah. So there's 4 boys and the
One
one girl.
girl.
Is she the youngest?
She is not. So it is myself, Michael, Jacob, Annaleah, and Paul.
So Paul's the baby. So
Yes.
okay.
And Paul is definitely the number 5 spoiled baby.
Yes. Well, we did meet your dad at Scott's, and we were like, I said to him, "What did you do to these kids? These kids are so great. They're so," and he just, I don't know. I guess he led by example. I mean,
They let us grow, and that's something that a lot of people aren't used to. We were homeschooled, so like we should even be more so weird than other people. But we were able to branch out the ways we needed to. I've gone to Atlanta every month since the age of 14. I learned to drive on 75. So just having that different experience that a lot of kids don't have is definitely worth it. Only difference I would say is that it's definitely harder to connect with peers my age because they don't quite get it yet. So
Yeah.
I'm usually friends with like a few years older than me, and we kind of go from there.
Yeah, I can see that
You're
completely.
definitely a few years ahead of the. Yeah.
Yes, but that's not a bad thing. Well, we're going to wrap it up. We've just really enjoyed just experiencing Atlanta Bed Swings from a personal standpoint with you. And we're going to say our quotes first before we end up. So,
Well, one last thing. So if you want to go ahead and check them out, all your socials, Atlanta Bed Swings, right?
Super easy.
.com, Instagram, Pinterest, all of those.
and
so, yeah.
such a good gallery, and you can read about their story and see so much inspiration, how they're made, very intricate details on the website about how every component is made, which I think is a huge thing that keeps, you guys stand apart.
Transparency.
Yeah, it's
Like you said, so many styles and different fabrics. It's a
yeah,
lot of
it's
inspiration.
amazing.
A lot of inspiration.
really good looking. All right, the funny quote just makes me laugh so much. Ready? Me yelling at squirrels in the street to move so they don't die is probably the same feeling God has watching me live my life most days. How many times have you been driving going, move, you dumbass?
It just happened to me a couple days ago. I was like, oh my God, no, please. And I'm waiting to feel the thump. It was like, and thank God.
And that's God looking down at us sometimes when you're like, oh, no.
Yep. Okay, the series quote. The higher you wish to build, the longer you must spend time in the dirt digging the foundation. So
Appropriate for
true.
today, right?
Appropriate for today.
Yes, absolutely perfect.
Appropriate. All right.
So-
Well, thank you to the Great Outdoors Company for sponsoring this podcast. Please check them out. They've got some beautiful stuff.
Now is the time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you to Atlanta Bed Swings and Tyler for coming into the studio for us.
Take some time, if you would, to rate us, review us, give us those 5 stars. It really helps people to see us and get to know us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, thanks for listening, everybody.
Have a great day.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram at Kandrak-Cole, and of course, you've got to visit them online at kandrak-cole.com for more information.